You often hear people make light of it when they seem scatterbrained. Oh, I have ADHD. They laugh it off. They don't think anything else about it. ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It is a real thing. It can cause quite the disruption for those who have it. So instead of downplaying ADHD, how about we learn about it in an effort to better understand the condition? With us here to help with that is President and CEO of For All Seasons, Beth Ann Dorman. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good
Thanks for coming in. Okay, so ADHD, why is it so important to understand this?
Well, ADHD is a way that our brains process information, and especially for our young people and adults who may find themselves in situations where they're feeling a little bit out of sorts, they can't get organized, maybe there is a high level of energy and they're finding it difficult to center in on what's happening. It's important to know that this is a chemical imbalance in the brain,
right.
And so we need to understand that it isn't just something, as you opened with, to just sort of like say, no big deal.
Right.
It is a big deal, and it does impact the way that we show up, and especially for our young people, it impacts how our young people move through life.
And it is young people and adults.
Absolutely, absolutely. We know that there are over 7 million people who are undiagnosed, and especially between the ages of 6 and 14, our young children, we may start to see some of these symptoms and signs, and it's really important to pay attention to what is happening, checking in with teachers, looking at what's happening at home, seeing how they are on the sports teams. All of those places have an impact in how we are able to really look at what's happening for our child.
Okay, so you just said at home with the teachers, in sports. What kind of things, are there things we can look for that might give us an idea?
Sure. Is a child engaged? Or so whether it be under-engaged or over-engaged in an activity.
Okay.
Is there a child who is maybe getting distracted in school, not completing their assignments, but when you are one-on-one with them, they know all of the information?
Right.
Are you seeing a child who is unable to kind of wind down from the day in the evening? Or maybe there is a child who is really wound up during the day at school. If you are looking at their sport activities, are they being distracted? You know, if it's a baseball team, are they out sort of just wandering around and looking at everything except for what's happening in front of them?
Right.
And looking at things like, are they disorganized? Are they not able to remember if you tell them to go do something? Do they get distracted and do something different in the meantime and say, oh yeah, I forgot? Those are just some of the little things that you can pay attention to.
Now, when I coached T-ball, we expected them to pick the dandelions.
Absolutely.
And that's okay, right?
My child used to do snow angels in the outfield in the very beginning. So, right, we don't want to look at every single activity, but
right.
What we're looking for is patterns over time, and we're looking for symptoms that you might be noticing at home on the baseball field and checking in with the teacher. So we're looking for patterns that stretch across the lifespan.
And that's how you make the diagnosis.
That's how you begin the conversation with the pediatrician, or coming to a mental health agency like For All Seasons, where you can say, here's what's happening, and those conversations can start. And many times we have heard, well, just put them on medication.
Right.
And so what I want to encourage families to think about is that might be one lens, and medication absolutely plays a role in helping to balance ADHD. But the other piece of it is also about talk therapy and being able to really help a child or an adult build the skills to be able to work with the diagnosis. What we want to avoid are the areas where someone will say, well, I can't do that because I have ADHD. Many people have ADHD and function well in life, and
right.
Sometimes it's about how do we build those skills and tools in addition to talk therapy, in addition to potentially medication.
So same treatments for kids and adults?
Different treatments.
Okay.
In terms of how we use medication. There may be a different level of medication that an adult receives, and that's where it's really important to seek child and adolescent psychiatry and/or working with your pediatrician. Adults are using a little bit different medications and/or maybe different levels of diagnosis, but we want to make sure that we're keying in with the proper doctors who can say, here's the alternative. And also remembering that you might need to try a couple different medications.
Okay.
So knowing that the first time you go in, first of all, it takes a couple weeks for the medication to take effect. And second of all, your doctor's going to want to check back in, checking for weight loss or weight gain, checking to make sure that the level of prescription is where it needs to be.
Dosage.
All of those things become really important. So knowing that it's a little bit of a journey, but a journey that doesn't take too long, and the end result is a happier child and a happier person.
For All Seasons can help us with this.
Absolutely. We continue to have our open access appointments, so it's same day in. You can be connected with our psychiatrist within 2 weeks. We work with pediatricians on a regular basis for children. We also work on the adult side with general practitioners, and absolutely we have the therapists available. We work with children and adults, so it's a one-stop shop if you reach out to our office.
Beth Ann Dorman, President and CEO, I should say, of For All Seasons. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk to us.
Thank you.
Very important topic for us all to know. Thank you so much for stopping by.